Hi, thank you for joining OACAC's virtual college exploration. We're excited that you're here and hope that you have a wonderful session. Before we get started, just have a couple of housekeeping items for you. As a reminder, this is just one of many college presentations that are offered during the virtual college exploration program. To review the full schedule and sign up for more sessions, please visit oacac.org. A recording of this specific session will be available on the website as well. Throughout the presentation, should you have questions or would like to learn more about anything, please use the Q&A button to type your questions to the presenter at any time. Your camera and microphone are off during this presentation. The panelists cannot see or hear you, but you will be able to hear and see the presenter. This exploration session will last 45 minutes. And now, without further ado, I will turn it over to Hiram College.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I appreciate anyone who's here taking the time to come and learn a little bit more about Hiram. A little bit about myself before we jump into the presentation. My name is Sherman Dean. I am the Director of Admission. At Hiram, I've been the director and been at Hiram for 17 years, but it is my 25th, 26th year in admission. Started at Ohio Northern University on the other side of the state. I've also worked at Kent State down at the main campus. So I've seen your medium-sized school. I've seen one of your larger schools like Kent, and then one of your smaller schools like Hiram. So if nothing else, as you folks go through this process, I do hope that you kind of use me as a resource as you go through these types of things. So to begin, like I said, I do not believe there is a such thing as a bad school, and you have a lot of options, specifically in the state of Ohio. There's a lot of us, but I do believe there are bad fits. So these types of visits are incredibly important. And once again, I thank you for joining me this evening. Please don't hesitate to ask any questions that you may have. So without further ado, I am going to share my screen, and we're going to get started with my presentation here. So all righty. So, Hiram College. So, first and foremost, there are a few things that set us apart, in which we will go over. But I wanted to give you guys a good drone view of campus. Okay, so this is what campus looks like. So, we've got a lot of space. We're located about 35 miles southeast of Cleveland, so not far away. A lot of folks will wonder, you guys are in the middle of nowhere. No, I like to say we're in the middle of everywhere. So moving forward, let's talk a little bit about some fast facts. So we were founded in 1850, along with some of the other schools in the state of Ohio, some other liberal arts schools over and a few of those. Some of the first to allow women and underrepresented students, like Native Americans and things like that, to get degrees. So we're very proud about our diversity. I'll speak to that a little bit later on as well. Just about 1,000 students undergraduate on campus right now. So very hands-on. Average class size is about 13, which could actually shrink as you get further in your specific field of study. I always tell students that if you're looking for a place where you can kind of go hide and be in the background and not be called upon, Hiram is not the right place for you. Okay, but if you're open and having a great relationship between the faculties and the student, having faculty know who you are, know your strengths, weaknesses, support you in things even outside of their specific class, it's a great place to be. And I can speak from experience there as well, as my oldest son is a recent graduate of Hiram. He's a student athlete, and one of the first things he mentioned to me was it was cool to look up in the stands and see his marketing professor or biology professor there cheering him on. And it had nothing to do specifically with that major, but it was just that experience there. So once again, located about 45 minutes southeast of Cleveland. The degrees we offer a Bachelor of Arts and Bachelor of Science in Nursing. So we have a BS in the direct entry nursing program. As you can see here, some of our courses are actually taught in some of the historical houses around the area. Okay, this building right here is called Kortansky Hall. This one is special in that it was originally a church. As you can see, it looks like a church, but it was a church in Mecca, Ohio, in which we bought and moved it piece by piece from Mecca to Hiram. Okay, now why is this church important? Well, one of our alumni, also a president, a faculty member, James A. Garfield, once spoke at this church and preached at this church. So it carries quite a bit of sentimental value for us. But as you can see, we utilize the church and the area for the political science department. There are programs going on, the classrooms, things like that. Upstairs in that green area, if you look at that bottom right photo, at the top there is a small library and things like that. But that is the home for our political science program. other historical houses. Bonnie Castle here is the home of our English and creative writing department. Okay, you'll notice that we'll have some classroom settings, but we also have it where students can probably sit around the fireplace, drink hot chocolate, and discuss the subject matter. At the top right, you also can see where you've got the traditional classroom with the traditional chalkboard, but right next to that there's Apple TV, and we'll talk a little bit about the technology aspect even in some of our historical houses as we move forward. Another one of these buildings is the greenhouse here, and that's the writing house. That's where students can go and get their papers checked. We don't expect you to be college level writers when you join us, so we're there to help. Students can also get jobs there and work and help. So if a student is really strong in English or writing, they can get a chance to get a job there. And then the bottom right is Pendleton House, and that is kind of the home for our history department. So along with some of those historical houses, we do have your regular traditional classrooms as well. Those two photos at the top left and top right, are some of our science classrooms or science buildings. They both have classrooms as well as laboratories in those, but there are a few things that really set us apart. And we'll start with, other than our size, we'll start with our academic calendar. Okay. It is a little different than most. We call it the Hiram Plan, but what it is two 15-week semesters, which is pretty typical, but we break that up into 12 weeks and 3 weeks. Okay, so the first 12 weeks are your traditional 3 or 4 classes that students take, then finals. There's a week break, and then students come back for 3 weeks. Now, this 3 week session can be several things. Okay, so there's a lot of flexibility. So, what can we do during a 3 week session? You can take one course. Okay, so if you're anything like me, I wasn't very strong in math. Okay, so let's say your degree, you needed a math course, you could take one course and make it a math course and just focus on that course during a 3 week session. Here you see some other options where students have taken an art class or a gaming course and things like that. So one course is one of the things you can do during that 3 week session. Another thing you can do is guided research. Okay, so obviously we have biological and chemistry and chemical research. We've done genomics research, things like that. But also at the bottom left, you see one of our students that was doing a research project of his interest in baseball and how the baseball had changed over the years and how it had evolved and things like that. So guided research with a faculty member is one of the things you can do. Another thing you can do is study abroad or study away. About 40% of our student body will study away or study abroad while they're there, and about half of the student body will do that more than once. Okay, so it is a huge part of what we do, and we have been all over the world. Okay, all over Asia, all over Europe, Trinidad and Tobago, one of the few schools to be allowed into Bhutan. The Galapagos Islands. I always share this story. One of the first and most interesting study abroad trips that I had seen happened a couple years before I got there. But one of our faculty members had come across the Diary of a Pirate. Okay, now I don't know where you find the Diary of a Pirate, but they found the Diary of a Pirate. So for 3 weeks, the students, along with the faculty members, were on a schooner through the Caribbean. And what they attempted to do was mimic the movements of this pirate ship through the Caribbean. And they would stop at different ports and look at the history, writings, biology, and those types of things of those areas. So as you can see, we are not just going to send you by yourself to say, okay, you go to this area, you come back and tell us about it. No, what we do is we take a group of students, usually about 10, 12 students, along with 2 or 3 of our faculty that would take the group, teach our own courses in those areas, but tie in the culture and the community of the area that we're visiting. Okay. Now, with COVID and things like that, obviously studying abroad has changed and studying away is even a challenge, but we do have study away opportunities, and that's for students who may not be interested in leaving the U.S. Okay. We've sent students all over the country as well. A great example of that may be a student that's interested in, let's say, marine biology. Okay. Now we're in Ohio. Okay, so we're landlocked. We don't have an ocean next to us. Okay, we've got a lake, but we don't have an ocean. So we've sent students down to the coast of California, Florida, and Texas, and those types of things to actually do research. Other things you can do, internships or observational experience. The main thing is we want to get you some type of experience. So a great example of that is a young lady on the left is an education major, and she was early childhood education, and she really thought that this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. So what we do is we try to give you that opportunity early in the process. So as early as first semester of sophomore year, students get a chance to get out and do some observations to really get a good feel. Is this really what I want to do for the rest of my life? So the Hiram Plan is really set up to get you the theory during that 12-week, but put that theory to work during that 3 week session. I always say, get your hands dirty. Okay. So that's one of the things that sets us apart. So we talked about the size, we talked about some of the historical buildings on campus, and then we just talked about the Hiram Plan. Let's talk about our Tech and Track program. This is another one of the differentiators. So, Hiram, we were the first 4-year school in the state of Ohio to be all Apple technology. Okay, so every student that joins us, when they join us as a student, is given an Apple iPad Pro, a keyboard, and an Apple Pencil, as well as a pair of vast hiking boots. Okay, we'll talk about the hiking boots in a moment, but let's talk about the technology first. One of our alumni, who is now one of our trustees, he retired from a Fortune 500 company and was always very complimentary of the education he received at Hiram. And he thought that it really prepared him well to lead a Fortune 500 company. But over the years, he had also seen how technology is such an important factor. And he wanted to make sure that students at Hiram, no student was ever left behind or at a disadvantage. Okay, so every student has the same technology. We're on the same platform. Faculty and staff have it as well. In fact, I'm talking to you on my iPad at this point right now. But faculty are using it in the classroom, doing things like instant quizzes, where let's say you're shot a couple of questions and you're answering those while in class, and then up on your Apple TV, there are percentages, and those percentages could say, okay, this percentage of the student of the class has gotten this thing right. Obviously, if it's a high percentage, we've got it, we can move forward. Lower percentage, let's stop, let's go over the information. Okay, from a student's perspective, we know you guys know how to use the technology. Okay, you've grown up with technology. We know how to you know how to use it for entertainment, social media, those types of things. TikToks all over the place, that type of thing. But we also want to make sure that you know how to use it on an educational as well as a professional setting. Okay, I've seen students creating presentations for class using iMovie and GarageBand and things like that. So students, you really get a chance to utilize your creativity while also, moving forward in the subject matter. Okay, now let's talk about these hiking boots. So, a free pair of Ask hiking boots. More than anything, they are to symbolize that we do not want you to lose yourself in the technology. And with everything going on now and so many things being remote and virtual and things like that, it can be very easy to lose yourself in the technology. But we call it mindful technology, which means we want you to not only know how to use it and be power users, but we want you to know when to put it down. Okay, so as you can see from the drone photo that I showed you earlier, we have a lot of space. Okay, we're sitting on about 110 acres campus wise, but we also have a 550-acre field station about 2 miles off campus that students can do hiking, biking, research, all those types of things. There are classrooms out there. So from time to time, one of our faculty members could say, you know what, let's leave your technology in the classroom. Come on Thursday when we have class, throw your boots on. We're going to go to the middle of campus or campus green and we're going to have our discussion. Or we're going to catch a quick shuttle van out to the field station and have our discussions out there. So we definitely want students to not only learn the technology, but also, once again, not lose what makes us human. And that's an appreciation for each other, interpersonal communication, as well as an appreciation for nature. Okay. Another differentiator for us is our new tuition model. We just started that this year, fall 2020, and it's called Learn More, Earn More, Spend Less. Okay, so basically how it came about, we were kind of looking at initial sticker prices, and any students that have looked at a website and gone to, what is this university or what does this college cost, that go to what's called an initial sticker price. Those can be scary. Okay, you're looking at some 50s, some 60s, some $70,000 a year. Okay, and a lot of students would make decisions based on that initial sticker price, even though very few students ever pay anywhere close to what those initial sticker prices are. I mean, those are before any scholarships, any financial aid, but a lot of folks don't understand that. Okay, so we felt that there are a lot of students that may have missed the perfect place for them, missed the perfect opportunity, the perfect college for them, based strictly on making a decision on that cost. Okay, so what we did was we looked at it, we took a hard look at it and said, okay, what makes the most sense? So we ended up rolling back our tuition and fees about 35%. Okay, so right now, total cost of attendance for an incoming class that just started was about $36,000 a year. Okay, that included everything. So that's room and board, tuition. We've eliminated fees and those types of things. So, but once again, that is also an initial sticker price. So it is before any financial aid or anything like that. It is definitely rolled back. So what we found was that a lot of students will at least go through the process. And if you don't remember anything that I say today, please remember and keep this in mind. Please do not make a decision on any school that may be perfect for you based strictly on a tuition. initial sticker price, because like I said, there are so many options to offset those types of things. So we rolled the tuition back about 35%. Now, the real value add are two things. The first thing is we also have it so students can take two free summer courses every year. Okay, so what that means to you is, let's say you went to double major, or you wanted to major and minor, you can do that in 4 years. In some situations, even faster than that. Okay. Let's say you were in a theater, or you were doing a music presentation, or you played a sport, and you wanted to kind of scale back your coursework during that time, during that season, or during that performance area. You can do that and then catch back up without losing additional time during those summers. Okay. And as you can see, summer courses could range from $3,000 to $4,000 depending on what those courses are. Our courses will be, there'll be a lot of flexibility. There'll be some that'll be all remote. There'll be some that'll be hybrid, a combination of remote and on campus. And then there'll be those that are on campus. So there's a lot of flexibility there as well. So that's one thing. The second true value add, in my opinion, was the opportunity to get paid for your summer internships. Okay. So along with our alumni, they have given back very well. We've also got it where they've said that, what, we had great experiences while doing summer internships, but we sure wish we could have got paid for it as well. Okay, so at Hiram, you're able to double dip. So you're able to get that experience, you're able to get that credit, but you're also going to be able to get some money, get paid for it. Okay, so nothing better, in my opinion, than being able to learn, double dip, and also be able to get paid. So that is the learn more, earn more, spend less program. So that's the tuition matter. So let's take a look at the campus life, okay, and living on campus. So we are a residential campus. Over 80% of our students will stay on campus all 4 years. Students are required to stay on campus at first and second year up through your sophomore year, unless you live within a 30-mile radius of campus. Okay, and we've also, done some special situations due to COVID. We'll look at each student individually, but we are a residential campus, and right now our students have been back for almost a month, and so far so good. We're taking care of each other, and everyone's being healthy. But I just wanted to give you guys a good look at the different options that we have for staying on campus here. So these two photos on your right at the top, and then at the bottom right is the dining hall. So you have the outside of the dining hall and the inside of the dining hall. One thing you'll notice, and I spoke to this a little earlier, is about the diversity. Okay, if you look at that photo and you look at the flags, every year we rotate those flags to represent all of the students that we have from any of those countries. So if we have a student from a country or from one of those areas, their flag will be able to fly in our dining hall that specific year. Okay, and as you can see, we're a very diverse campus. With 1,000 students, diversity is not something that you can run away from. In fact, we embrace it. So several different types of living opportunities on campus, specifically for our upperclassmen. And when I say upperclassmen, I usually speak of juniors and seniors, but there's some sophomores that get these options as well. So we've got Bowler Hall, which used to be a mansion. So, if students stay there, they get a chance to brag a little bit and say that they stayed in a mansion. East Hall is one of our suite style living. And suite style living here at Hiram is, there'll be one large living area as well as a kitchen, and then there'll be individual bedrooms off of those. And then we've got townhouses, which is basically apartment style living, transitional housing, I call it, because students also have to cook and clean for themselves and do those types of things. So it's really a good transition to real life and those types of things. So for some of our undergraduate students or first year students and things like that, you still have options. Now, we do not funnel every first year student into one specific hall. You'll still have options, and all four of these residence halls that you can see here are really great options. So you have Booth Centennial, and that's two residence halls combined by one lobby area in the middle. Usually it's split one half, the half by half for male and female. Henry Hall, Miller Hall, and Wickham Hall are basically triplets. They're all the same types of residence hall there. Mostly double occupancy. As you can see at the bottom right photo, that's what a photo of one of the residence halls look like now. For fall 2020, every student that joined us at Hiram is given a single room. Okay, so due to COVID, and we want to make sure that students can really, once again, social distance. Those double rooms that you see there were all single rooms, and there were no additional costs for any students at all. So those other photos you can see are some of the lobby areas where you can see we've updated some of the furniture within the last 3 years, Apple TVs and all of those as well, utilizing once again the Apple technology that we have on campus. So those are some of the things that kind of set us apart, and that's Hiram. So at this point, I'm going to stop my screen share, and I am going to see if there are any questions that may be available for Hiram. If not, I will jump into the application process and what we do. So I'll wait a moment to see if there's anyone that has any questions. Okay. All right, seeing none, let's talk a little bit about the application process. So, our application process is pretty simple. We utilize either the Common App or our own homegrown application on our website. We do not have a preference. Whichever one you want to use is the one we'll accept. We do not read either with any more weight than the other. Okay, whichever one works best for you. We are on what's called rolling admission, which means we will process your application as soon as it is completed. And you'll usually know about 2.5 weeks whether or not you've been admitted at Hiram. Okay. There are some schools that are what's called deadline admission, and what that means is they may accept applications up to a specific date, let's say December 15th, and from that point, not accept any more applications, but then process them all at one time. So you may not hear back from them until after January 1st, after the new year. But once again, we're enrolling admissions, which a lot of schools are, and you'll hear back from us as soon as your application is complete. We are test optional. Okay. We have been test optional for a few years, but there are a few programs historically that we were not test optional for, nursing and our educational licensure. But just recently, we've made the decision there are a couple different pathways that students can take, even to go test optional for those programs now. We understand the challenges that COVID has thrown into the mix when it comes time to taking those exams. We also realize that standardized tests don't always tell the story and aren't always the best indicator of success. So we do a holistic application review. What I mean by that is we look at everything that you're bringing to the table. So we'll look at your GPA, we'll look at any recommendations, we'll look at the types of courses that you've taken, what courses, what is the degree you got in those, or excuse me, what is the grade you got in those, leadership, and then we'll make a decision based on those types of things. And once again, we'll do those individually. So every student is looked at individually. We don't, put your application up against anyone else's. That's not the way we do it at that point. So, okay. Now, as far as scholarships and financial aid, there is not another application that you'll have to fill out to be qualified for our scholarships. We're going to go off of your application for admittance. We're going to look at your GPA, your ACT or SAT scores, and we don't have a preference there. Well, once again, we're also test optional, but if you want to submit those, we will look at those. But you will automatically be awarded the highest automatic scholarship that you qualify for. So, we have a process that we use in financial aid that kind of plugs in everything that we have under this holistic review. But the great thing about it is all of our scholarships are renewable every year, which means once you get them, you keep them as long as you keep your grades up. And that Hiram, keep your grades up is just staying off of academic probation, positive movement towards graduation, so at least a 2.0. Okay. We can and will accept any additional scholarship or grant that you bring to the table. So I always tell students, make sure you're working with your school counselor, okay, and that they know that you're serious about going to the next level and you're interested in everything that comes across their desk that you qualify for, meaning any at-large scholarships, any at-large grants or anything like that. The great thing about it is we will simply add it on. Okay, so let me give you an example. Let's say you were awarded a $10,000 scholarship from Hiram, okay, but you found a $2,000 scholarship from an outside source. There are some schools that actually take away $2,000 of their money to make sure you still only got 10. Okay, so for us, that will be 12. And we'll just keep adding on and adding on. The only time we would ever adjust any of our money is if you go over our total cost of attendance. Okay, and once again, we'll walk you through that entire process. We have financial aid counselors that will be working with each individual student as well. There is a form that you folks will fill out. It's called the FAFSA form, free application for federal student aid. Federal form, which tells any school you're interested in exactly what your family can offer towards the education. That is the number we work from. Okay, so we have to then make it affordable. That number will be the same whether it's in state, out of state, public, private, doesn't matter. Okay, but it does tell us needs. So it tells us if there's any low interest loans that students qualify for, any state or federal grants, work study, those types of things. So it'll give us an idea of how we can put together an award for you. So what we do at that point is once we've awarded you your automatic or your original scholarship based strictly on what you're bringing to the table academically, we'll get that FAFSA information. About December is when we'll start, late November, early December is when we'll start going out with financial aid awards for you. They will be itemized. They'll be exactly, try to show you exactly where every dollar is coming from, how to get it, when to get it, where to get it, that type of thing. If it works for you, you just sign it, send it back, and that'll be your award. Okay. If not, you have questions. Once again, we have individual financial aid counselors that are there that'll kind of walk you through the process, hold your hand, be able to answer questions, make sure you aren't missing anything, even help you find additional outside scholarships and grants. In fact, I want to share a couple of websites and things like that that some of our students have received scholarships from. Fastweb.com is a great start, as well as collegeboard.com. Both two free web services that can kind of help you search for outside scholarships and grants. I've seen scholarships and grants for being left-handed, being over or under a specific height, having a specific color hair or eyes. There's one for wearing duct tape to prom. I mean, there's so many that are available. And the word is that almost $2 to $3 million could go unused every year because students don't know about it. Okay, so no reason you shouldn't benefit from that. Great thing about it, once again, for us is anything you find there, we'll add those on, and it'll always be as a benefit to you as the student. Okay. All right. So we talked a little bit about some of the things that set Hiram apart. Most folks know as far as sciences academically, so strong pre-professional programs like your pre-med, pre-vet, pre-dentistry, nursing, direct entry nursing. But we also have a very strong education department. Business is probably our largest as far as number of students. But also psychology. So very strong programs. We call it new liberal arts. So all of our programs, even those that are more applied that I've kind of mentioned, have a basis in liberal arts, and so there's a lot of writing, ethics, communication, and those types of things that will really help prepare you for either going directly into the workforce or graduate school. And like I said, about 65% of our students will go directly to graduate school after graduation from Hiram as well. So we're set there to kind of help you get your degree, but also get where you want to be at the end of those 4 years. So every student, once they join us, is given an advisor. He or she is there not to tell you what you're going to do. They're there to tell you or to help you find out where you want to be and then help you get there. So they'll sit down with you individually, build you a roadmap, and that roadmap will be any specific course, any career, anything like that that you want to be, where you want to go. If it wants to go directly into the workforce, if you want to go to graduate school, they'll sit down with you and build every course for you so you kind of know where it goes. If at any time that changes, that same advisor is there for you to kind of walk you through it to make sure, okay, you're changing gears here. Here's how we can make this fit and get you still out of here in 4 years. So that's pretty much how we do. So that is Hiram College. So let me see once again if there are any questions or concerns that I can answer for you today. Okay. Doesn't look like there are any questions for me at this point. Um, Let me see. What else can I tell you about Hiram while we wait? Um, Athletically, we are Division 3. Okay, we compete in the NCAC conference. Some of the other schools in our conference, Ohio Wesleyan, Denison, schools like that. So we are Division 3. So we're not allowed to give out any athletic scholarships. So all of our scholarships are academic or merit based. Okay, but we do have a high percentage. Almost half of our student body is are in the are intercollegiate student athletes. So there's a great relationship between athletics and academics on campus, and that is not the case everywhere. In some situations, it can be kind of adversarial, but I think our faculty and our coaches kind of understand how important it is. Coaches understand that you're there to get your degree, but also while you're there, you're continuing to play a sport that you have a passion for. Faculty are the same types of things. In fact, some of our faculty are actually some of our assistant coaches are actually faculty and things like that. So there's a great relationship. A faculty member will not hesitate to call a coach and say, "Hey, listen, coach, I haven't seen Timmy in class in a couple of days." For Timmy, that's going to mean a lot more conditioning, okay? But it's also going to mean that Timmy's not going to be able to play, because you do have to be a student first and an athlete second, okay? But it also works the other way, okay? There's going to be times when, you're going to have to leave as a student athlete, and miss a class in the afternoon because you've got to travel to another school to play. Our faculty are really good about allowing students to either get an extension or to get things in a little early. Okay. Also, with the Tech and Trek that I mentioned in the iPads, you don't necessarily have to miss those courses. Okay, because the majority of our buses that we use have Wi-Fi. So students have, zoomed in the courses or Skyped into class and been able to listen and not really miss that even while traveling. So, that really works well for our student athletes as well as those that are doing other things like either working or doing theater or music or things like that. So, all right. Um, Let me open it up again for any concerns, any questions that the folks may have there. Okay. Well, I am going to sit here and wait to see if there are any questions or anything that do come up. If there's anything I can help you with. Um, Looks like I ran my mouth a million miles an hour um, too quickly. But let's see, what else can I tell you guys about Hiram? Recently recognized by several different organizations as some of the top liberal arts schools um, in the nation. Okay, along with that, I said Ohio is really blessed with a lot of different options and different offerings. Over 50 small to medium-sized institutions like Hiram, but then you got the state-supported schools as well. And then a whole nother level of community colleges. So you really have a lot of options, and that's a great thing. But with so many options, it can make it a challenge in finding the best fit for you. So what I'm going to urge that you do is to make sure you jump on campuses as much as you possibly can. And I know that can be a challenge now, but most schools have limited on-campus visits as well. But virtual visits are great. But when you do those, just kind of keep in mind that who you're talking to. So I'll be honest with you. I'm the director of admission. Folks that you talk to that are in my position, we're all paid to tell you it's perfect. It's great. Okay. I didn't do that. I'm not going to do that today. I believe we're a great choice for a lot of students, but not a utopia. There's some things we do incredibly well, okay, but there are things that other schools do incredibly well as well. So you want to talk to folks like myself. If you're playing a sport or you're theater or music or something like that, you want to talk to somebody in that area. So either a coach or a director or something like that in those specific areas, because they're going to tell you the ins and outs of the program. But keep in mind, they're also going to accentuate all of the positives because they want you to come as well. Okay. But if you get a chance to talk to students, okay, students are going to tell you good, bad, and ugly about a school, and you need to hear it all. Okay, they will tell you, hey, I really like this about this school. I really like on Wednesdays when they have steak night. Those types of things. Or I really don't like this aspect, and I think it's important that every student get a chance to hear that and learn that, and to get a good feel for what it is. So you can make an educated decision. Just keep in mind, in my opinion, okay, I think it's almost a little unfair that we expect you to make a decision about what you want to do for the rest of your life when you're 16, 17, 18 years old. I'm 50 years old and I have no idea what I want to do for the rest of my life. Okay. But we try to set you in different areas that have your passion for. Okay. So there, once again, are so many options. So don't make your decision based on the decision of someone else. And what I mean by that is, let's say you had a good friend or girlfriend, boyfriend, or significant other, mom or dad, someone that's had a great experience at a place that does not guarantee you that same experience. So make sure you go through the process. Get on campuses if you can. When things clear up, try to stay overnight. See how students interact with each other. Go to some actual classes. See how students interact with faculty members. If you can, eat the food. Okay, you want to make sure you can eat the food for 4 years. But once again, you want to really put yourself in a position to say, is this a place I can see myself for the next 3, 4 years and getting my degree, and then being a lifelong alumni. And uh, I will speak for myself, but I think I probably echo the thoughts of a lot of admission folks. Is we're in the process, and we want to recruit alumni. Okay, we don't want to recruit first year students who are looking to transfer and things like that after a semester, after a year. We want to recruit students that are great matches for our institution, that are going to graduate in 3, 4 years, and then have a great experience. So much so that they send their children, or they send a family friend or something like that. That's what all of us are looking for. So when I talk about best fit, it's incredibly important that you find the best actual fit for yourself. Okay. All right. So let me open it up again. I'll see if there's anyone that has any questions for me. Doesn't seem to be, but I will once again wait and be able to answer any of those that pop up. So if you are listening, I just want to say thank you for taking the time once again to spend your afternoon, your late afternoon with me, and learning a little bit more about Hiram. Excuse me.
Thank you again to Hiram College for this session. As a reminder, this recording will be available at oacac.org. You're able to sign up and view more sessions on the website as well. And after you close this window, a very quick 4-question survey will appear. Thank you all for joining us, and we hope that you have a wonderful day.